Hey everyone, it's time for another terrible, low quality, poor YouTube video. And we're going to be talking about something that's very important to your ride quality and also the stability and safety of your vehicle, especially you truck guys out there, but it's often overlooked. Also, a lot of you truck guys out there. So on our truck here, we have the Bilstein 5100 series shocks and stern stabilizer. We do not have a lift on this truck, and these have been on there for probably well over a year now. We run on front, back, and of course, as our steering stabilizer up front here. So let's tuck in here, and you can see it there. And overall, they've held up really well. Install and fitment were, of course, top notch. I like the 5100 series because they're affordable, but they also give you a really good bang for buck quality, especially on these work trucks. Now, if you look right here, somebody's gonna say, oh, we don't have enough space. There's plenty of space here, guys. The top of the mount is right here, going all the way down to here. So we have probably a solid 4 inches before we bottom out. We're gonna hit the bump stops, and I'm gonna see if I can get a picture of it here. Way before that. So not concerned there. And on the backs, it's kind of the same story. Initially, I was a little concerned, but after measuring them, they fit really well. Now, once again, these are not for a lifted application. They do make them if you have lifts, everything from 1 to 4 to 6 inches. And even back here, you'll see, here's our bump stop. And I mean, we have, what, maybe 2.5, 3 inches most right there. And up here, I mean, we've got a solid, once again, 4, maybe even 5 inches of space before we bottom them out. These have been in the snow, the grime, probably about 30,000 towing miles. And I mean, they've held up great. I mean, they still have a really good finish. There's no signs of leakage on any of them. And if you're considering these, I really recommend them. I've been really happy. They are probably not quite as good as some of the reservoir style shocks that are out there, but for the price point, they're absolutely phenomenal. The factory shocks that came off this, and this is an FX4 F350, were completely gone at about 96,000 miles. 2 of them had started leaking pretty bad and had no rebound. 2 of them had very little rebound, and the steering stabilizer was, it was definitely on its way out at best. So once again, guys, not a bad shock for the money. Really happy with the quality and the ride. It's not a dramatic improvement as far as the ride goes, but it does seem to help smooth it out just a teeny tiny bit, and definitely an improvement over stock in my opinion, but keep in mind the stocks were fairly worn. We did have a little bit of a, I don't want to say it was death wobble because it wasn't quite that severe, but we did have a little vibration, a little shimmy in the front. And the 5100 series did help address that. However, we had both front universal joints on their way out. So what we did was new wheel bearings, new universal joints, new inner and outer seals, pretty much the whole 9. We had put the steering stabilizer on there before we'd replace them because obviously that's a little bit more of a major job. You know, doing both wheel bearings and both universal joints does take a little bit of time. So we had thrown the steering stabilizer on there just to kind of help it while we waited on parts and for a weekend to take it on. And it worked out really well. What we noticed was the steering stabilizer itself did help some of those vibrations, that little bit of shimmy, but it was definitely a band-aid fix. And if you're looking to fix death wobble by a steering stabilizer, once again, guys, it's probably another underlaying issue. It's probably either your U-joint's on the way out, you have some slop in your front suspension, your wheel bearings on the way out. Could be any one of those things, plus probably another half dozen things that we're not even going to get into, such as caster, alignment, blah, 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 blah. So just be aware of that. Don't look for a 5100 series steering stabilizer to be the end all. I've heard a lot of guys having good luck with dual steering stabilizers. This truck is running a fairly small tire. It's a 295/70 R17. And this is the biggest tire we're ever going to run on this. We're actually thinking about going back to a 285/70 R17 the next time around. So they work well for a work truck, and that's what this is used for. Also, FYI, if you ever have to replace your passenger side mirror, your ambient air temperature sensor is in this mirror. So be very careful if you're buying aftermarket. You don't want to throw that off. The engine actually uses some of the parameters from that, along with the intake air temp sensor and the CAC sensor and the map sensor for the engine tuning. I was very surprised to find that out. I thought it was just for the dash, but I've been told no. It's not just for the temperature indicator on the dash. It actually does affect the truck's performance and is even tied into the HVAC system. Same thing as your front map sensor. It also has to do with the AC system. So everything on these trucks is integrated. Make sure you do your research before you just throw, a $200 Amazon mirror. This mirror was damaged. The replacement for it was over $600 from Ford. Didn't want to pay it. I think that's outrageous for this mirror. This is not a King Ranch. It's not a Platinum. It's an XLT. But to have the peace of mind to know that everything works, it's not going to cause any wiring issues, and that ambient air temperature sensor is going to be correct, it was worth it to me, and it is what it is. Anyway, guys, as always, thank you for watching. If you like these videos, remember to continue to like, share, and subscribe. This one's going to be kind of short. Nothing really negative to say. Anybody can install these shocks and the steering stabilizer in their driveway. Real easy to install. Good quality. So far, they've held up really well. I give them a thumbs up, especially for the price point. So, as always, thank you, Bilstein. I paid with these with my own money, but still, I think it's a very good product, and I've been very happy with it. So, thank you for building a good product. As always, all the way and be safe.